Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
On today's Fat, Drunk, and Stupid, I'm going to show you guys how I make a gnocchi dish called Gnocchi's Maldoris. It's a Sardinia dish, fennel sausage that I ground earlier. I'll make a sausage video for you guys eventually if you want one of those. So gnocchi is one of those regional things, like little bitty pillow pastas. Sometimes they're made out of potatoes, sometimes they're made out of semolina flour. These particular ones are made with semolina, and this is for a challenge for a group that I'm in called the Cooking Zone that was started by a co-worker of mine named Brian. Every couple of weeks, once a month, we do a challenge where we all make something that's based upon a last time it was we grilled meat. This time it's pasta. So I like gnocchi, and I haven't had this gnocchi dish in a while, so I'm going to show you how I make it. So with sticking with the theme of Fat, Drunk, and Stupid, drinks are important. This particular drink is tea. Doesn't always have to be an alcoholic beverage. I use local Winter Garden honey. This tea is from a friend of mine by the name of Ian Divine with Wicked Tea in Massachusetts. I'll put a link in the description. This is tangerine flavored pure. It's really good, real strong in flavor, and this is what I use to brew it in. So there you go, we've got the beverage. The important things for me when it comes to cooking in my kitchen, and my kitchen's small, it sucks, I hate it, is one, you got to keep all your surfaces clean. So I'm not going to show you this on camera, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to scrub this down with some Clorox cleanup. And then the other thing is mise en place. Mise en place is a French term, and it means everything in its place. I like to have all of my ingredients out and ready, so all I have to do is just dump them in. I'll have an actual recipe with the ingredients and the amount of the ingredients in the description, and of course, you know, the method. So again, bear with me, this is my first video. I literally have no idea what I'm doing. I do know this tea is good. It's also hot as balls. So yeah, you're gonna hear me do a little hum and ha every now and then, and yeah, so let's get to making some gnocchi. So it occurred to me that some of you might want to see this mise en place process, you know, chopping and doing those things, I guess. And something I need to say, by the way, this is 18 and up, 21 and up shit. Like, I curse, I vape, I drink. This channel ain't for your fuck trophies or your crotch goblins. I don't fucking play Minecraft. Yeah, so disclaimer. Keep your fucking kids in the closet. So let's get to some chopping. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, got 3 cloves of garlic and a fly. One moment, I hate flies. Bug of salt. This thing is the best. Try not to blast your flies in the kitchen. They get fly guts everywhere. Okay. So we got three cloves of garlic. I don't like to hit them with my knife, so I just kind of hit them with my palm. Breaks the husk. You can get the paper off really easily. Peel that one there. Oh, we got a little bonus. Look at that, a bonus clove. That's all right. I am a firm believer that Very few things in life can have too much garlic. Oh, look at this. This whole clove is actually 2 more bonus garlics. Look at that. Maybe this one might surprise us. Come back. Alright. So, I have been under quarantine since February. So there's a bunch of you been bitching about being locked up for a couple weeks. Bitch, please. I broke my shoulder in January at work. I tripped over a 1-inch copper air line in the dark on the roof of a building where I work. As I was, funnily enough, explaining to our company safety man how to safely go about doing a job. Slightly embarrassing, but you know, egos for cowards, and I don't have much of an ego. We're gonna hit this little guy like that. Alright. Alright. So, I don't know how long cooking videos and shit go for. I just know that not everybody likes long videos. This is probably going to be kind of long because it's not only, you know, it's a process, but this is my first video, and you know, like I said earlier, I have no idea what I'm doing. And on my way around the kitchen, and on my way around a smoker, what I don't know is my way around YouTube editing and all of those fun things. So I'll show you guys a little trick for garlic. One, I never like to scrape the blade across the cutting board. But a good trick for chopping garlic is grate a little salt on it. This happens to be smoked sea salt that I make. So put a little seasoned salt on it. And the other thing, so, you know, very important. I think if you have ever worked in a kitchen, but always have a towel, which is like the #1 rule on the planet. If you've ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if you've ever watched South Park, you know, always have a towel. Always have a towel handy. If you don't have a towel handy, you're fucking up. You're doing it wrong. So always have a way to wipe off your hands. Wash your hands regularly. It's important. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and I am no god, but I like my kitchen to be fairly clean. I like my hands to be clean, and I like my garlic to be chopped. So we've got our chopped garlic. We're going to put that into a ramekin using the back of our knife in our hands. There we go. Alright. Now onto the onion. Take a quick swipe of the knife and a quick cleanse of the board. Not really worried about a whole lot of cross-contamination between the garlic and the onion. I happen to have half an onion that I had from a previous dish a couple days ago. So I'll peel that off camera because that's boring as shit. No one cares. I'm gonna peel that one little extra protective layer there. My knife sponsor is not Shun. I have a buddy that makes custom knives. If you have a buddy that makes anything custom, you know custom takes time, custom costs money, and custom is, well, custom. You get what you pay for. And I am on his list for 2 knives, actually. And I can't wait. This has been one hell of a knife. I got this actually off the Amazon treasure truck about 9 months ago. It was on special. Shun makes a pretty decent off-the-shelf knife. It's pretty sharp. I have no complaints. Alright, so we're just going to do quick dice here. Watch your fingers. Fingers are important. Alright, so we'll take that, and that's all nice. Half an onion. So you'll notice that my ramekin game ain't the best game. And you know what? Fuck it. You gotta use what you gotta use to get the job done. These are technically custard cups. I've had them for a long time. I used to have a bunch of big ceramic ramekins that were really nice. I don't know what happened to them. But there we go. We got onions. I think we can fit all of this onion into this glass ramekin custard cup. So I'm showing you this mise en place, but it's actually going to be broken up into 2 sections, right? So, we're making this dish, gnocchi maloritis. I just call it sausage and fennel gnocchi. To be honest with you, I don't go for any of that fancy shit. First we're going to make the gnocchi. Then we're going to make the gravy sauce and sausage. The sausage I made a couple weeks ago. It's just an Italian sausage that I put into chubs. I'll do a sausage video if you want. There's a bunch of sausage videos out there. But yeah, so currently we've got half an onion, 3 and a bit cloves of garlic, a pinch of saffron powder, fennel seed, and then I'll have the exact stuff in the comments below. 200 grams semolina flour. Semolina flour is a hard husk, what they call rough durum flour. And then the rest is going to be like bay leaf, pepper. I've got some plum tomatoes that I blanched and peeled because that's boring. No one wants to see that. So yeah. Okay, so welcome back. So we've got most of our mise en place. This is all it, but we're going to focus on the gnocchi now. So we're going to put our sausage away, back into the fridge. We're going to plum tomatoes. We're going to put those back in the fridge. We're going to put our onions back in the fridge. Garlic, pretty much anything needs to be cold, back in the fridge. Dry ingredients, yada yada yada. I think you get the gist of all that. And then Let me adjust this for a moment. We're going to take 100 milliliters of warm water. See if I can get that to focus. 100 milliliters of warm water and a hefty pinch of one of the world's most expensive powders, but this is saffron powder. And grab a spatula. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Spice Wars, Silk Road, all of that conflict was, you know, over stuff like saffron. It's really expensive. There's a lot of fake saffron running around, kind of like olive oil. So you take a little bit. You don't want any of this to go to waste. Put a little water in there and then add that. So you want that to sit for a couple minutes. So you're going to take your bread bowl, and I you know, let me see if I can do this with this. I bought this like vlogging tripod because, you know, it's kind of what this is. What I really need is an actual tripod. The funny thing is, I used to have one, but I don't know where it is any longer. So we're going to, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. Let me see if I can pull that back. All right, well, you're going to get the bowl and not me. So congratulations. I'm fucking ugly anyway, so. All right, so you're going to take 200 grams of semolina flour, and then you're going to wash your dirty dick skinners with soap and water, because we're going to get dirty with our hands. Don't forget our magic towel, and we're going to take that semolina water with the powder in there. Make sure you stir that shit up really well. You really want it to dissolve in there. And the saffron is a Sardinia thing. All right, so I had to go off there for a second. So you've got your 200 grams of semolina flour. You've got your saffron soaked water. You're going to add that to it, into the gully. I think first you're just going to mix it around. And don't be afraid to let it show your true colors. But your dough's going to be kind of weird at first. It's going to be real dry. So you just want to get that mixed up. I put just a pinch of smoked salt in mine. But it's going to be a dry dough. Don't be afraid to have a little water on standby though. So you're going to get in there, you're going to mix it, you're going to knead it, and you're going to knead this for about 5 minutes. The texture is going to be dry though. It's not going to be like a regular dough, but you just, you know, add a little water and keep kneading. You're going to knead and knead and knead. Knead and knead and knead and knead. So once you get it out of this, or once you get it into, you know, a nice ball where you know, it's all stuck together. Now remember, the surface that we're working on is clean. We cleaned it with Clorox cleanup, let it sit, so you can take. So I knocked the camera off. I'm glad it wasn't expensive. Will it focus? All right, so we're gonna take this, we're gonna knead it, we're gonna roll it, and we're hopefully gonna focus. Oh, don't know why it's not focusing very well. There we go. So I'm going to need this off camera for 5 minutes, and then we're going to put it in a container. People like to wrap things in cling film. I don't own cling film, so we're going to put it in a bowl and cover it and let it sit. We're going to need it. All right, see you guys in 5. Okay, so we're back. Just to recap, we've got our mise en place done. I'm looking into the lens, Matt Cully. We've got our mise en place done. We've made our gnocchi dough. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make the gnocchis themselves. What I do after that is I let them dry out a little bit. And I, you know, I'm not an old Italian grandma. I'm a Irish Catholic atheist who doesn't have old world tools. So, you know, like I said, you know, you use what you got. So I usually make my gnocchi and then throw them in a sieve, colander. But you know, do whatever. You know, yeah. Okay, so we cleaned your surface once again. We've got some flour on it. A little more flour there. So we've got our gnocchi board, and we'll put some flour on it. Get it in the grooves there. And then we'll take our gnocchi and sit it for a while. And we're going to see, it's nice and springy. We're going to grab a sieve, put our sieve over here. We're going to take a piece of the dough off like that, and then we're going to roll it out. We're going to roll it out into a tube. You know what though? We're going to switch from tea to a little funky Buddha, Florida wheat beer, Hefeweizen, brewed here in the state of Florida. Shout out to my best friend in the whole wide world, Damian Silva, for bringing these over the other day and leaving them. So cheers. That's pretty good. Okay, so what we want is like a uniform tube. You know, I don't know what you'd call it, like maybe 1/4 inch thick, right? So cut that down into that. Don't worry, I mean, it like, you know, none of this is really, you know, people want to think cooking's so scientific, and it is, but it isn't. You know, baking is, but this shit is just, you know, it is what it is. This thing sucks. So there we go. Dough knife. So we want to make these little pieces. Probably better video like this. So gnocchi are little pillows, right? So we'll move this closer here. Make little pillows. And like I said, don't forget to dust them with some flour here. You can use AP for this, all-purpose flour, but I'm using semolina. So this camera is falling over. Oh, fucking. Is that better? Can we actually see? That's in the way. All right, so you take these little gnocchi and you take a gnocchi board and you just rub your thumb down. And you're supposed to do it in one motion like that, right? So it's not rocket science. I'll show you one this way, right? Take like this. Now what you're doing is you're creating a little pocket for ragu or sauce to get into, and it's going to trap that sauce. It's going to trap that sauce and be delicious. Oh, we'll make this one gnocchi. Don't worry if they're ugly. You know, like, again, this is like shit peasants made. You know, like, this isn't what Napoleon ate or whomever. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So once you get your gnocchis like that, sprinkle them with a little bit more flour. I'm actually going to get a little bit of AP, a little all-purpo flour, because it's a little bit easier to manage. You roll them around in that, right? And you see the little pocket that's in there? So you do that, and you throw them in your sieve, right? So we'll take the dough again, roll it out to a tube. And we do a little choppy chop, 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 chop. Take our board. Whoop. Whoop. You get a little spiral on there. You know. Now, the problem with cooking for me is I'm a single guy, lives by himself. So I run into not being able to not really be able to cook for one. You know, cooking for one is really difficult for me. A lot of these recipes just aren't made to cook, you know, a serving, and I don't mind leftovers, but you know, shit does get boring after a while. So we'll take a little flour there, dust those in like that, all around, chop, 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 chop. Whoop. So there you go. You make the gnocchi. See, that's a good one. See that little pocket? We were talking about the pocket. All right, so I'm going to get back to making these, and we'll see you in a few. Okay, so our gnocchi's done. We've I'm gonna put some flour on them, toss them around a little bit so they don't get all stuck together. And we're gonna let those dry out a little bit, and then we're gonna go on to the sauce, the ragu. All right, so we'll reposition. Okay, so we're back on this side for a bit. We're gonna start on our ragu. We've got our blanched and peeled plum tomatoes. And what we're going to do is we are going to de-seed them tomato seeds suck. So just do a little bit like this. I'm sure you can't see this. I don't even know how to do this to where you can see it. Just cut that little piece out like that. That piece out like that. So then we say these pieces over here. We're gonna end up cubing these. See, that one's got seeds in it. Bastard. That piece out there. Ugh, seeds. Hate them. There. You know, try to get them off the best you can. I mean, again, you know, we're not Michelin star chefs here. You know, we're not serving this at Noma. I mean, so you know, I say that at both sides of my mouth. You know, so cooking is a love affair. It's something that you do because you're passionate about what you do, right? Like, you know, one of the best ways you can ever show affection towards someone, in my opinion, is to cook them a meal by hand. It's a pain in the ass, you know, but it's a labor of love. It's intensive. I mean, fuck, no one wants to do this. And I mean, even people that really enjoy it, you know, the preparation part of cooking is the most tedious. You know, the cooking part is easy. You know, that's why when you go to culinary school and you leave culinary school and you go into your first cooking job, you know, you pretty much all you do is prep. You know, or you might work a station, you know, but a lot of it is prep. You know, chefs don't prep. They come in, they watch everyone else cook. And I'm not talking shit about chefs, mind you. I mean, it's all part of the process of becoming a chef and working in the culinary industry. I don't work in the culinary industry any longer. I never worked in fine dining or you know, white linen service or anything like that. But as a nerd, you tend to know about things, and I know about those things. So we've got 5 or 6 tomatoes here. We've taken the seeds out of as best we could. Speaking of, you heard me name drop a restaurant called Noma. You know, Noma is considered to be one of the best restaurants in the world. They have a lot of books. They do a lot of fermentation and experimentation, and it's really interesting and it's exciting. If that's what you're into and food excites you, like, I'm fat, I eat, and I cook my own stuff because I like the food that I cook. You know, good for you, you know. Now we're just gonna rough chop our tomatoes. You know, again, it's a ragu. We're not talking about, you know, anything crazy. You know, these are gonna cook down. If they're on camera, it's probably better. These are gonna cook down anyway. Oh, there's my my oven. So what we can do is put these back into the bowl with all of its delicious tomato juice. Try to avoid the seeds. And we will reposition back at the stove. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. Now we're going to start our ragu. And while we start our ragu, on this other side that you can't see, I've got a pot with some water in it that I have added some salt to. You always add salt to the water. Depending on the type of region in Italy of the food that you're cooking, you know, they have a saying that you want your water for pasta to taste like the water of the sea, like you're using seawater. That leads me to believe that closer to the coast that they probably used salt water for that. I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. But here we go with the sauce. So we're gonna get our pan hot. We're gonna add some olive oil first. Nice big glug. We're gonna take our. Remember, we have our mise en place. We've got our onions, our sausage, our tomatoes, our fennel, and our garlic. So I like to get all that stuff close to my station. It's good to have those things handy. Remember, we've got bay leaves, fennel, and we've got some dry white wine that we're going to use to glaze our pan. So get that close to your station. My stove is, I don't know if I mentioned that I fucking hate this kitchen, but I do. And my stove is uneven. So I deal with uneven stove. That's okay. A good cook can work with what he's got. He doesn't need all that fancy shit. I mean, the fancy shit helps. Trust me. I like fancy shit. But you don't need all that fancy shit to get the fucking job done. You gotta remember, like I said, so, you know, I'm cooking this meal for me. I've had to do some horse trading with myself to come up with, you know, what this would taste like. I mean, I'm sure this could be a meal for 2 people, but, you know, I'm 350 pounds. This is for 1. So as soon as our pan gets hot, the first thing we're going to do, I told you, we got olive oil. We're going to throw in our onion. We're going to take our spatula, and we're going to coat the onion in olive oil. I'm using extra virgin cold pressed, which is what they say it is. Supposedly there's some sort of deal where, you know, like 90% of the olive oil in the world isn't really olive oil, it's mixed and blended. So once you have your onions coated, you're going to add your fennel. And this is important. Whenever you have dry ingredients, seasoning, stuff like that, you have to get them hot. That cracks the husk. It gets the oils and stuff out of the seasoning, and releases the aromatic, good word, right? Aromatic flavor of the seasoning. So once we get our onions, you know, semi-translucent, you know, we're talking 1 or 2 minutes. Nice, and you can smell that fennel. God, fennel's got such a good flavor. Not quite, you know, anise or one of those. It's not as potent as anise. So then, you know, you always want to watch when you add your garlic. Garlic will be the first to burn. And when garlic burns, it turns really nutty and bitter and gross and kind of destroys everything. And if you see that your stuff is dry, don't be afraid. You know, like I said, cooking's a science, but it's not an exact science. You know, baking is, but this isn't. You know, add a little bit more olive oil. Get yourself nice and coated. Get it to cook. All right, I got that cooking. It's cooking good. Got the aromatics, the garlic, the fennel, and the onion. Going nice. And what I do here is I add my bay leaves to get them hot and toasty and get them to release their aromatic goodness. I'm hoping by this time next year to have a couple bay laurel plants. As much as I'm from the South. I cook a lot of southern food. Bay laurel or bay leaves is you know, pretty common in southern food. You use a lot of it. I use a lot of it. You know, I've got a small herb garden, but I don't have any bay laurel. All right, so we've got all this good, starting to get nice and translucent. We can go ahead and we can introduce our sausage. I like, don't be afraid to use your hands as long as you wash them. You know, keep them washed. But I like chunks of sausage. You know, it is ground, and this is ground with a number 4 and then a number 8 grinder. But I like a lot of these recipes for this gnocchi and sausage. You know, they get the sausage real fine, and I like hearty chunks of sausage in my dish. So we'll get those chunks cooking. Mix this up. And then another thing I want to mention is, you know, kitchen hygiene, kitchen cleanliness. Cleaning as you go is important, especially if you're single and live by yourself. I usually I like to clean as I go, because, you know, after I eat, after I cook it, I'm the one that's got to clean it up. In a perfect world, if you lived in a perfect world, I would make a deal with someone. Hey, I'll cook you delicious food if you clean up the kitchen after we're done. Now, in the past, that's not exactly worked to my favor. I usually end up doing both, but, you know, such is life. Also, again, you know, this is my first video. I promise that, you know what, I don't promise shit. This might get better, it might not. You know, I've got a limited budget. I've got one camera. You know, these guys, they've got fucking tripods and GoPros and fucking Canons and Minoltas and all that other stuff. I got no got. I got this camera and a cell phone, and we'll fucking make do, you know. But what I promise is to not bullshit you, and I'll do decent content. Whoops, we lost a bit of sausage. I'll do decent content for you, you know. We'll have some beers. We'll cook some food. I'm not going to do a lot into, like, we might talk about some social stuff here or there. I try not to get into politics. There's enough people in fucking pickup trucks, dudes in pickup trucks with opinions on politics. In case you were wondering, I am not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an independent. I have been since I was 18. I don't, you know, I'm not one of those crazy conspiracy theory people, but, you know, I don't trust the government. I don't like them. I do not think any of them are on our team. So now that we've got the sausage going, we're going to introduce our tomato. And we're going to turn our heat down a little bit. Look at that. It's going to be a good ragu. I'm excited for this ragu. I'm excited to share this with you. This is a good ragu. Good ragu. Add just a little bit more tomato. So there is a limit. There is such thing as too much tomato. You get into things being, you know, acidic, and you know, you want to kind of balance that acidity with things. Turn up the heat again, and you know, let this cook. I'm going to check on our gnocchi water. Oh, look at that. It's getting nice. Breaking down those tomatoes into the ragu. You know, and this isn't really going to be a thick ragu. So this is a rustic dish. You know, you don't have to be crazy. We are going to add some pepper. Now you see me just kind of adding this stuff, you know, at will. That's mostly because I've made this before, but honestly, you know, one of the major things I see that people don't do when they cook is they don't taste what they're cooking as they're cooking it. And that's a thing, you know, you gotta taste what you're cooking so you know what you're doing. So you grab a little, you know, a spoon like this. Oh yeah, that's good. If you walk into any kitchen, commercial, well, I don't know about commercial kitchens, but I'm talking about real deal restaurant kitchens. Every person there, I don't know about the dishwasher, but if they're at a station, if they're the sous chef, if they're just a guy on the line or a gal on the line, they've got a thermometer. Oh, sorry about all that steam. But they've got a thermometer. They've got a spoon and a rag. Those are three things that are, you know, mandatory. A chef will kick you out of his kitchen if you do not have those things. So I'm going to reposition this camera out of the steam. All right, so we've repositioned. We're going to turn this down a little bit. Our ragu's coming along really well. You turn that way down. We're going to take our dry white wine. We're going to add that to the mix, and we're going to allow that to cook out. Ooh, it's got a nice, real nice smell. I'm going to take this to low. We are going to turn the heat on our gnocchi water up. And in the meantime, we're going to take a cell phone snappy snap of our ragu. So, like I said, I'm in this group called the Cooking Zone, and you know, we're just people that like to cook, you know. Good, wholesome folks, hard-working people. You know, we don't talk about politics. We don't get any of that. We do so. Some people are a little bit more stuffier than others, but the guy that's in there, my buddy from work, Brian, and I, you know, we give each other a hard time. I call him, you know, Crockpot, because he's been known to cook some, he's been known to cook a few things, you know, ribs, whatnot, in a crock pot. You know, is what it is, right? So, we're going to let this cook. We'll put this lid on that, and we are going to do our gnocchi. Okay, so we got our pasta water cooking. We're gonna open that up. It's gonna get steamy for a minute. Now we're gonna stir our ragu. See our ragu back there? Look how nice that's coming out. All right, so we're gonna grab our spatula, whatever. Move this over here. We are going to take our gnocchi that were in the colander, and we are going to... Okay, so there's a portion of this video that's missing because the battery died in my good camera and I had to switch to my cell phone. So you didn't miss anything. I put the gnocchi in the water. We've got our our gnocchi cooking in the pot. We've got our sauce. Yeah, so we're just gonna wait. So these gnocchi, when they're done cooking, they'll float. See that one? He floated. That's a floater. So I like to give him a little extra time, but that's because he's sinking. But they're gonna float up to the top. I wish I had a tripod for this camera, phone, but I don't. So again, you get what I get. You know, maybe eventually I'll have a budget and I'll be able to buy those things. All right, more. Our gnocchi is floating. We're gonna turn our sauce down. That's about ready to go. I just like to give them an extra little, extra few minutes there. Not an actual minute, but like 30 seconds. Okay, so our gnocchi's done. And I moved the sauce over to the closest eye. We're going to pull out that bay laurel. And we've turned it down to low. It's going to take a minute to get to low. That's okay. A little reduction is a good thing. Nice, look, chunky, rustic sauce. So ragu. Look at that bay laurel leaf. We're going to pull that guy out. So once it starts to settle down a little bit, we are going to create a relationship, one of commitment, between the gnocchi and the ragu. And how we do that is we just boop, 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 boop. Just kind of put those guys in there. A little, hi, how you doing? How's your father? Cha-cha scooch. And then, the battery on my phone is also dying. We stir them around. Stir, stir, stir. Get them. See those little pockets of the note? That's what holds the sauce in. It's that little cha-cha on the end there. So we're going to stir those in. Come back in a second. Okay, so our gnocchi has shaken hands and has cohabitated with the ragu. Now it's time to plate. And I don't plate with a spatula. Actually, as a matter of fact, you can't plate without a plate. So I need a plate. I forgot to grab a plate. Plate. All right. So we got our plate. I need a go. I'm thinking I need a GoPro. Fuck. All right. We've got our spoon because we don't like to plate with spatulas. And we start on one side like that. Make sure we get some more. Remember, the dish is a gnocchi dish, not just sausage. And we're going to make a nice little pile in the center of the plate. Because presentation is important. Now, I have not always been on that presentation train. I was a big fan of just, stick the shit in front of me. It all goes to the same place, right? But they've done studies, and the more visually appealing a dish is, the people actually like. They've served the same food, one with no presentation, and one with lots of nice presentation. And look at that. Now I'm going to have to set this down to do some, put some pecorino on it. But we're just about done. And there you go. Fennel sausage gnocchi, tomato, homemade gnocchi, semolina flour gnocchi. I finished off with some pecorino and some parsley. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you make the dish. It was fun hanging with you guys. Now I get to edit this pile of shit.
Well, okay. So lots of up and downs in my first video. Obviously, we have all sorts. By we, I mean the royal we of me. Have some things that we need to work out. The dish was good. So I haven't made it in a very long time. Things that you should do that I didn't do, and which I did better. Those gnocchi aren't supposed to be that big or that thick. They were very massy and doughy. Make them about a quarter of that much, real thin, and they'll be better. Outside of that, the dish was great. I really hope you guys. Excuse me, I need to stop using that pronoun. I really hope y'all enjoy it, and I appreciate you watching that giant mess of a video, and it can only get better. It cannot get worse. Shout out to pretty much everyone, man. Like my dad and Matt Cully and a bunch of other folks, other professional YouTubers and amateur YouTubers. This is way more difficult than it looks on TV or on YouTube. I knew that going in, but I really know it now. Anyway, like, subscribe, do whatever. I'll try to have some sort of weekly content to throw up. I appreciate you all. Be kind to one another. We're in the middle of some interesting times, and not everybody feels the same way about things as everyone else, and it's a real thing that's going on out there, and I just think we could use a little bit more empathy towards one another, because not everyone is struggling. Not everyone's going through the same things. Not everyone's in the same area. And that has a lot to do with it, So, that's it. Thanks.